What's up, people who inhabit the lovely planet we call Earth?
I don't want to do that. I don't want that.
You don't want to inhabit Earth?
I don't. Shut up.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about the LCK. The fifth best
reason. Okay, I'm sorry. Go.
You pick boogers with your nose?
What? Just finish.
You want my fingers in your...
Can you just go? I don't want...
The fifth best region in the world kicked off this weekend, last week, technically. Cringe. XD lol. Alright, so we have a lot of the older guard of teams just basically losing. That's kind of how it works.
You're scaring me now. Why is this happening? Are you having a stroke?
Yeah. Freaking KT Rolster went 0-3. Kingzone are now 1-2. Genji is 0-2. Just Afrika's like what, 1-2, right? I think Afrika didn't even win at all either. So a lot of these older guard teams losing, newer teams showing up. We got Sandbox, Damwon showing up. We got Griffin popping off. Time to delve into it all in week one concerns and crazy people and.
Okay, so let's talk about what I would say again. The bottom 14, well not bottom 14, but the four teams everybody kind of slightly hyped up. So let's go with Afrika first. I think that Afrika is in a situation where I think they could easily bounce back. I think Spirit is underperforming to a pretty large extent. I think that again, I think their weakest point is going to be their support. They played Jelly for a little bit, which I'm really kind of confused as to why they even kind of like brought him in. Jelly was never impressive to begin with, so it was kind of a surprise to me that they even wanted him. But Proud is playing slightly better, if anything, not even much. I don't even know if it's substantially like noticeable. But what are you doing?
Nothing.
Is it working?
Yeah, it's working right now.
Okay. So for the most part, Proud is obviously as a slight step up, if anything, and then aiming. Like, the bot lane is going to be the big weakness of this Afrika team. I think that UCal, Spirit, and Kin are going to have to be the carries, but Spirit is slacking, so I think that's the biggest reason. You can't just have two solo lanes and then everybody else feeding for this team to work out. On top of the fact that they don't look like they have any form of direction, man. Like, this team all around just kind of confuses me.
But they're still better than Clutch Gaming.
Shut your mouth. Okay, so... Again, like, I think this team's going to bounce back because I don't think Spirit's bad enough. I think that Aiming's even decently competent, so I think this team is going to make it to playoffs. I think that, without a doubt, I think they kind of underperformed at the beginning, but I don't think it's going to stay. I don't think it's going to keep continually staying.
Mm-hmm.
Want to make any points on them before we go to
I think
next?
UCal hasn't been playing too well right now. I think people need to understand, last year he was on a super team, but he was still performing. He performed well by himself. Right now, it could be just he's not used to every lane winning. So, like, Spirit's not been playing good. I think people give this guy a benefit of the doubt way too much. He's been playing bad for a substantially long time. It's been a while.
Literally last year, he was great.
All about great.
He was great.
Sustainable.
He was one of the better junglers in the league. I disagree with
your
this
head
statement.
Not screwed on properly?
He was great last year.
Nah, great. Like, I was great at math at school, probably.
Okay, no, that's just a lie. That's...
Their bot lane is just not that great either. Like, Sol is okay. Their support is kind of off. I think a lot of these teams are functioning from not being together as well as not being on the same page. Like, let's look at last night's series. What did you think about that? KT and Kingzone.
I mean... Realistically, this just looked like two teams who I would say just don't know what they're doing. Like obviously, I think that Kingzone's the worst team right now in terms of those two, obviously, because they pulled out the win. But again, like, these teams are just like, it was sad, man. It was like watching two challenger teams go at it. I mean, really not, because they're obviously better than challenger teams, but like
Challenger's
it's just
greater than LCK.
Watching these legacy players just look terrible. Like, Smeb was one of the worst players in this entire game. Like, it's horrible. Like, Smeb looks absolutely...
He tried to flank a Sion, Urgot that was level 14, and he was level 11 as an
it's frustrating, these players, these teams that just were... They looked like so stacked on paper, like, not amazing. Like, they weren't a super team like the year before, but, like, I don't understand the reasoning behind it. Like, I don't even think Smeb was the second or maybe even third best player on the team, yet they wanted to build a team around him.
Like, he was maybe shot caller.
I mean, Mata should have been the shot caller. He should not have been the shot caller over Mata. I'm sorry. Like, obviously, the moments when Mata was the shot caller on the team, they did substantially better when they said, I gave with a range to Mata. And then when Smeb when they were fighting at the very beginning, when they first formulated the
he said
team.
They still were. They were constantly doing that.
Yes,
it wasn't like
the problem is
a one-time thing.
Mata was playing better than Smeb the entire year. If you're going to build a team around somebody, build it around the bot lane. Out of Deft and Mata looked incredible. Like, they looked one of the best bot lanes in the league. But Smeb's been on a pretty poor... He's been in a pretty poor like state for quite some time, I'd say, honestly. I think that Smeb is one of the weaker... Like, is the middle of the pack top laner at the best right now? Like, not even that. I would say he's towards the bottom, to be honest. I don't think that's going to stay. I don't think he's going to stay that bad, but, like, that's just the reality of it right now. Smeb is on a point where I would say he's one of the worst top laners in the league. Like, it's incredible that he went from the best player in the world to this in such a short amount of time, but that's just the reality of it. Score is playing okay. I don't think he's playing incredible. BDD is playing fine. I think he's one of the kind of bright spots of this team. In the bot lane...
Doing that, I'm a KDA player type crap.
Yeah, and bot lane, I mean, both of the ADCs are surprisingly competent. I don't think either one of them are terrible.
Snowflower isn't even bad.
Snowflower wasn't expected to be bad, though. I think Snowflower's a great player.
Like this guy on every support champion he's given, he's been doing great.
Yeah, when he was on a...
Well, like, he's not even that... Like, the problem with KT is not even... It's literally just top. King is not good. God, Lee, never play that guy.
Okay. What I'm saying is...
Smeb is... How is top lane the problem when...
I wouldn't even say top because Score's not playing good. He's not playing good enough. Like, he's better than this. The Store's not playing to the extent that he should be.
Well, he doesn't have a winning bot lane anymore like he used to.
I don't think they're losing. I mean, they haven't really been losing. They're doing fine. I think, again, the weakness is going to be in this top side.
Like, the issue is just... I think... KT's functioning also from people being on the wrong page. Like, last night, you had 5 people going for 2 Nexus turrets. Then, they can't win a game when 2 inhibitors are down. They're fighting in mid-river when they could ward, take Baron. You have Score who's pushing mid as Gragas with no flash, gets caught out, they lose. They're not focusing the ADC in team fights. Def doesn't even have a Guardian Angel at that point. All he has is a QSS. So... It's not even just that. Their coordination is not even there.
I mean, the coordination, to be fair, it is the very beginning of the spring season, so I'll give slack when it comes to coordination, but play... Like, when you play...
as in the ADC is murdering our team, so let's just focus the side in front of us.
Again, coordination can come from later on, but the thing about it is, like, types, like, actual ability in terms of, like, micro decisions, like, those really don't improve after so many years in the league. Like, obviously, like, they've been in the league for a while, they can come back to form. But I would worry less if they're just completely off around the map, because you can fix that with time. You can't really get better after like 7 years in the league. Like, a lot of these players are legacy players. You're not going to get better at playing the game. You can come back to form, and we're going to have to see that happen because, like, as it stands right now, like these new guys are just putting them in the dirt. Like
Well, that's the thing with competition. People were surprised that SKT at one point were losing. Like, people can be better than... At a certain point, competition improves, and the previous competition can either improve with it or stay the same.
I don't think that's the case here, though. I think they're just playing terrible. I think that the competition isn't improving to that extent.
They could be. A lot of these new teams are not
bad.
we're
watching the game, and it's not happening.
Yeah, but the new teams themselves aren't bad.
Yeah, but if you watch the players...
Even if the players did come back to form, these new players that are here are not... as far off as what they used to be.
Well, I get that. I'm not saying that they would stop, but I'm saying that Smeb would still be the best top laner in NA, probably. I mean, in Korea. Like, this reality.
You compare Korea to NA? NA's better.
What I'm saying is, reality is that Smeb is not this bad. Smeb on form is fine. Score on form is fine. This team would be fine if everybody was on form, but the reality is they aren't. That's the reason that they are. But, again... I just want to kind of touch on the weaker teams and not really just every aspect of them.
You have Kingzone, their best player is their ADC.
Yeah, I think that the big thing with Kingzone is that their actual ability to, like, their problem with actually recruiting people. Rascal, why did you even bring him in? He's never been a starter.
He was a sub to Khan.
Yeah,
so
he was never a starter.
They don't have to go look for a top lane if they already have one.
No, they do need to. Just because you have him doesn't mean he doesn't need to be the starter. He's not good enough. You've had him on the team a long time, and every time he's kind of started over Khan, it's been a pretty large mistake. Like, just because you have a top laner does not mean he should not be a... Like, consistent sub.
Maybe they're poor at making budget cuts.
I'm gonna be honest. I like the Cuz pickup. Like Cuz is something I would say is a key piece to where I don't think he's great, but I don't think he's a liability. On top of the fact that when you put fundamentally good players around him, he looks good.
Nice word, fundamental.
I'd like to use big syllable words. It makes me feel smart.
But it's like filling in a piece to a puzzle.
Yes, but Cuz, like, again, I think that Cuz's biggest reason as to why he's struggling so poorly, like, again, you think he's one of the worst junglers in the league, but that's due in part to the fact that he's not really good when it comes to helping a team that's already struggling. He does better.
He's not a hard carry jungler.
Yeah, like he's good at kind of supporting a strong team, but he's not good at
he's not a hard carry like Tarzan is.
Yeah, he's not. I mean, I would honestly say probably who am I thinking is probably.
He's not a hard carry like Haru or Tarzan or what Peanut used to be. He's not the type of player. He's the type of player like Broxa. He kind of likes to facilitate people.
Yeah.
But Broxa does it way better than Cuz does.
I mean, Broxa, again, I would say that...
Like, Cuz's job is to not be a hard carry. Cuz's job is to help people.
Cuz
is doing that is substantially worse than everybody else.
But again, I think during the preseason, I thought this was a good pickup. I still think this is a decent pickup if you kind of put better players around it, because the mid lane was the big question mark. You picked up Pawn.
It still is. He's literally had... Last night's game with LeBlanc was his good game. The first game he's had in quite a bit of time.
Which one are you talking about?
When he played LeBlanc in game 2 against
Yeah,
KT.
What I'm saying is, for the most part... Pawn was a big question mark to me. I think that, again, he's one of the best mid laners of all... Like, he was one of the best mid laners of all time at one point. But it's been a long time since we came to that. Like, he used to demand you guys, like, give him... You either paid attention to him or he took over the game. But we're not to that point. It's really sad. We don't get that Pawn anymore. And the Nahun, I don't really know what to say about this pickup. Like, I don't know... What do you say about that? Like, they picked up Nahun.
Nahun in the victory.
That wasn't even a pun, but that was your pun voice.
That wasn't even puntastic.
Okay, go sit over there for a little bit.
People don't know what's in this closet. Do you hide dead bodies in there?
I hide clothes. That's where my underwear is. Don't look. But for the most part, I think that Nahun was a terrible pickup. Like, I don't know. Like, apparently he said that
he needs to be fired.
Yeah, he said that Nahun has apparently won a game. I don't remember. I thought it was like 0-42, but apparently he's won one. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason why I picked him up. Maybe they really liked that game he played. But for the most part, Nahun and Pawn...
It was an hour-long game.
Both of those pickups were
absolutely...
Thank you for telling me this. Both of these pickups were absolutely atrocious. Like, not one of these mid laners were, in my eyes, good enough. I still think Pawn is probably the better pickup than Nahun. But maybe Nahun showed something in his Korean solo queue that I didn't see it. Maybe that's why they picked him up. But I don't know why based off of pro play. Deft and Tucson. Deft is by far and away the best player on this team. He is playing to an extent.
Absolutely incredible.
He's playing great.
A lot of people thought that not on a stacked roster he would not perform very well.
I think he's playing really well, and I think Tucson's a good support. I think Tucson's playing fine. But again, Deft is the big show. He's the big star of this game, and I think that for the most part, this team is not going to function well unless you put at least one more. Like, because Tucson is a support. He's not going to help you. Like, he'll facilitate Deft, but he will not take over the game with him. They need one more. Either Pawn to come on for him, Nahun to get replaced with somebody who can come on for him, because that's just not going to happen with him, or a better top lane. Like, Rascal is a good... I like this person kind of practicing with my top laner, because he has what it takes to be a good practice partner, but I don't think he is a good...
He's the person that only gets to play Sion and Urgot.
Yeah, I don't like him as the main. He's not a great...
I mean, he could come into that. He's only been playing competitively for literally, like 2 weeks at this point?
But he's been he's been playing for years. It's been 2... When did he first start?
Well, he was a backup. He's never been actually playing.
But he's been playing against... Again, in terms of Korea, they play in-houses a lot.
Yeah.
They play... He's played a few actual games, too. It's not like he never played. He did play over...
Yeah, but this is his first time being the main sole starter.
I'm not giving him credit for that. I think he's been in the league for quite some time at this point. You need to show something. But again, he's fine. I think
one of the biggest surprises was Kingzone actually beating KT last night. Like, Kingzone form looked terrible compared to KT's, and what a terrible series that was. What was used to be a marquee matchup of the week was turned to basically watching you play a sport.
I'm really athletic. I'm so athletic.
It's like watching you play basketball.
I'm really bad at basketball. He clowns on me. He's like, you can't shoot the ball. I can dribble, though. That's all I can do. I can dribble and pass. I'm good at those things.
Which new team stood out to you?
New teams? I mean,
beside Griffin.
What about Danwon? Can I talk about them?
You damned if you do, and you damned if you don't.
Okay, so best player on this team, I think really, I'm going to put it on Canyon, to be honest. I think that Canyon has played to an extent that I didn't expect from him. And then Naguri is just one of the best top laners in the league. Showmaker, one of the best. Like, all around, I think this team is surprisingly good.
Nuclear is just on a different level.
I don't think he's as good as I think he's the fourth best player on this team, and that's saying something. I think, like, it's really surprising that all of these players are so good in my... Like, it's just... There's so many good players on this team that I really did not get to see because I didn't get to see a lot of them.
We're building dynasties, boys.
So... Like, realistically, this is the biggest surprise of the year to me. I honestly was completely wrong about how good Damwon is during my power rankings because I didn't know enough about them. They look incredible. I think they're going to probably keep up at least decent form and make it towards the top of the rankings. I think that if they fall down, it'd be a surprise to me. But it'd come down to somebody's overperforming on the team. I don't expect it. Like, this is just smart play. It's not like they're playing out of their minds, like, mechanically, though they are. I think it's mostly coming due to just, just intelligent plays around the map, and it's just, like, I think Damwon's going to keep this up.
One of the worst disappointments of...
The worst is going to be, I mean, Gen G.
Generation Gaming.
Why do you do that, man?
They played Cockroach in the top lane a couple times.
You're so funny. Do you know you're so funny?
I'm a puntastic master. Okay, Huey's been playing like...
Bad?
Would bad be the word?
The best thing about this season is the fact that Cuvée is not on the starting roster anymore. I think they're playing Roach more now. I really am sad to hear that, honestly. Cuvée was one of the better top laners, like the most stable top laner in Korea. And it was kind of surprising.
Tons of Gnar highlights, his outplays for days.
Like,
whatever happened to that guy?
I mean, he got replaced.
He got replaced by the biggest Roach in
the problem
in
with
colony.
This team is, I would like... I mean, if the thing about it is, Roach is not sustainable. He's not good enough. I think that if you...
I don't know about that, yeah. Because his only team he was on was Kongdu Monster.
Again,
none of those players were playing good at that point.
He was bad. He was bad on that team. I think that if you want
Everyone was bad.
It doesn't matter. He was bad himself. He was one of the everybody.
I mean... You can't be one of the everybody.
You're one of the everybody, yes.
That is not sustainable English.
Did you just take one of my words because you thought it sounded smart and just used it in your sentence? I just used that. Okay. So, Cuvée, honestly, I'm going to say, for the most part, I'm okay. Roach has been playing better. It's just the reality that Cuvé's been, like, the single worst top laner in the league.
He hates Peanut.
Well, I mean, I'll get to that later. But for the most part, Cuvée needs, like... I would not take a chance on... Like, Roach is fine, but he's not good enough. He's not good enough to be the starter again. I think that's the same case with Rascal. I think that if you want this team to look good, you're going to either have to get Cuvée to come on for him, or you're going to have to look for a new top laner because, like, I'm going to be honest, though I think this is the weakest part of the team. Actually, it's not even. When Roach is playing, this is not the weakest portion of the team, but I still think it's a big problem. The biggest portion of the team that is by far the biggest problem is going to be Peanut. Peanut is the worst jungler in the league. I think that when Cuvé's playing, it's a really big argument who's the worst player on the team. Like, I'm not sure.
You can make the argument for Fly.
I don't think so. I think Fly is not good, but he was never good. He was not great. He was never great. And he's still playing fine. I mean, I don't think he's good. But
he
again,
can fly high.
Peanut is just a gigantic liability. Like, sometimes he makes ganks, and I'm like, no, don't. Just sit in the jungle and farm. Go die to raptors.
YOLO Camille throws.
It'll be better for everybody. Like, he really just does not know what to do anymore. It's just incredible that he went from this superstar, I'm the best jungler in the world, to, like, I don't understand why he's on a team. Like, it's just...
He's worse than Onda now.
He wouldn't even be worth picking up on a challenger roster right now for the way he's playing. Like, it's just so frustrating because he was just so good at one point. And he's ruining his chance to be able to cash out in NA to go to retire.
Yeah.
Like, at this point...
He can't retire in our 4-fun region home.
And at this point, even NA wouldn't pick him up. I'm going to be honest. Like, Peanut, I think it's a good... Like, actually, I'll disagree with that. I think that people would pick up Peanut because the upsides of him coming back to form are incredible. But the likelihood of it happening with so much time between his good play, it's been an entire year now, man. It's just too long. Like Peanut needs to do something, or he's gonna lose all of my faith at this point.
He won't be in peanut butter anymore.
And I don't want to talk too much about Fly. I think that Fly is fine. I think he's not good, but he's something that I could say he could fill in a slot on the team and not be a liability. Something similar to what I would say Cuz should have been, but he wasn't. And the last point I'm going to point out is Ruler and Life.
I think Lord, why is Life even competitive?
Life is not good, but he's not bad. I think he's still better than the two bad players on this team I pointed out. I still think he's better than Roach too, not by much. But Ruler is by far and away the best player on this team. Just he's in a similar situation to Deft, but Tucson is better than Life. That's the only I think that's the similarities between these teams.
That's the issue. One team has two better players, and the other one has one.
And
well, I mean, comparably, Fly could.
Genji has a big upside in they have two players I say have been world class before. I mean, Pawn has been world class, but it's been years.
Deft.
So, I mean, Nahun is world class to an extent.
World class for the bench.
For the most part, I just like a lot of these pickups. Peanut was bad last year. The pickup did not make sense to me without like a secondary jungler. Like you saw this. He was playing like this last year. Get a backup jungler so he needs to compete. Like he's in a situation where he's the sole jungler, so he doesn't even need to think about worry about improving to that large of an extent. Like he needs to realize that his team's on the line. Like his job is on the line, because I really don't think he's improving to an extent to where I would say, wow, this dude he's trying. But like I don't know if it's him trying, like because he's making aggressive moves around the map to an extent. It's really not.
I mean, it could be just your team is not
he's
cohesive
playing
enough to follow it up.
He is the cohesiveness problem. He's playing aggressive and making terrible decisions. He's just an idiot. Like it's just what it is. So unless Peanut comes back to form, or Kuve, one of these players comes back to form, Ruler is going to be in a situation where he's going to be the one man on this team. So I don't see Genji making playoffs. And I think they might actually make it to relegations this year. They'll win.
I think King's almost going to be in relegations.
Actually, I don't even know if they'll win. Like, there's two teams coming out of that I think could actually take out Genji if they faced them right now.
Challenger teams?
Yeah. I think there's a...
That's a CG Antis team.
No, it's not CG Antis. It's the one... it's a...
APK Prince?
BBQ actually does not look terrible.
BBQ?
Yeah, they replaced their entire roster, man.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Most of the roster's gone.
And BBQ...
Yeah, they got Sneaky on their roster, right?
Yes. So BBQ and...
there was CJ Antis
and I think the something Prince.
APK Prince.
I know it's mostly because they have Cacao and I want it to happen.
Cacao, Mickey.
They actually looked incredible during the the Caspa Cup, so I think they could not incredible. They looked pretty okay. But
so anything else from week 1 you think surprised you?
I was surprised.
I was surprised just how
one more point.
Griffin was.
I think everybody was kind of surprised by that, but one point I want to point out is I don't know if Jin Air is going to be as bad as I pointed. I think Malloring is a pretty decent jungler, and him alongside Nova, I think they have a good combination going, like to where I could say, wow, this team could actually get something. Like, because when Nova made plays on his Rakan, I think that he almost turned around the game a few times against SKT. I was like, SKT's going to lose this fight, and then I realized it's Jin Air playing, so no, it didn't happen.
The day in which Jin Air could be better than Genji.
But the thing about it is, I think that against a substantially weaker team than SKT, I think those team fight things they made happen could 100% turn a game around. Like, Stitch is fine, Malloring's the best player, and I think that Nova makes a really solid, like, kind of addition to this team. I think that it's going to come down to, again, Grace is fine too, but I don't think he's great. And that new mid laner they picked up is terrible, man.
For who?
For Jin Air. Terrible.
Is he even listed? Oh, Chengo.
Yeah.
Changu.
He was absolutely horrible. Not worth picking up. Like, when he played against Faker, I don't think...
First day, stage 1 jitters.
His positioning was terrible. Like, I think that all around, like, I was not impressed. There was, like... Again, like I think it might have been stage issue. I don't think he's played on his professional team fully, so I'll give it to that. But he did not look good. So I think it's going to come down to Grace not being.
So which team do you think is obviously not going to make playoffs? You said Genji.
You want me to say 3 teams again? No, they don't have 4. They have 4 teams that don't make it.
Well, one of the 4 older guards.
Actually, they have 5 teams that don't make it. Right?
Yeah, I mean, they're top 5, but which of the 4 older guard teams can you see not making it?
I'm going to say
Kingzone, KT,
the 2 teams that make it out of the 4 is going to be Afrika and KT. I think they just have some more solid pieces around the map. And the 2, obviously, Genji just looks awful. And then Kingzone really only has depth.
Yeah. I mean, Tucson is good, but I don't think he's not at the same level as depth, which makes the bot lane weaker, too.
So that's pretty much it. You got anything else to add on?
Nope.
Dude, man, you just spit in my mouth. That's disgusting. I'm ending.
Hold. That's it. Like.